myself on the issue of the recognition of the state of Palestine. Too many countries in the world don't recognise the state of Palestine, including the UK government. And we had Ireland, Norway, Spain, all recently recognising the state of Palestine. So I'm calling for demanding that the UK government, Keir Starmer, demanding that he recognises the state of Palestine and does so immediately. And yes, of course, when I spoke out about this in the early days, I was the first European leader to call for a ceasefire. Of course there was a backlash, media backlash. Some people were accusing me of all sort of terrible things like anti-Semitism. But of course, to criticise the Israeli government is not anti-Semitic. And I think the disgraceful actions of the Israeli government, we have to hold them to account for it.
क्या अगर आप ये बताएं कि पब्लिक लाइफ में होना, एक पाकिस्तानी ओरिजिन मुसलमान होना, किस किस्म की यहाँ पे जो इंटिमिडेशन, हरासमेंट, रेसिज्म और जो प्रेजुडिस का सामना करना पड़ा आपको आज तक?
I'm afraid that in Scotland, across the United Kingdom, across Europe, it is more and more difficult to be a Muslim and more difficult to be a person of colour, whether you're Pakistani, whether you're Sudanese, I think whether you're any other race, very, very difficult, because we are seeing the rise of the far right. We're seeing the rise of racists coming into power. Nigel Farage is somebody who said that many Muslims don't share British values. He said Muslims were trying to infiltrate the United Kingdom. And maybe in months to come, he'll be the leader of the Conservative Party to come. I think this will happen. And then he may well be the Prime Minister one day of the United Kingdom. In France, we saw the National Front winning the European elections. In the Netherlands, the Freedom Party, led by a man called Geert Wilders, who said that the Quran is like Mein Kampf, Hitler's book. He said they should be banning mosques. He's now leading, his party leading the Dutch government. So right across Europe, across the United Kingdom, those who hate Muslims are on the rise. And I think it's the job of everybody, not just Muslims, the job of everybody to confront that and to make sure that we speak out. The situation is terrible. Bokhraba, you can imagine, you see every day on your television the bombs that are raining down on people, the children who are being killed, the women who are being killed. Gaza has been destroyed. Hospitals, schools, water sanitisation plants, everything has been destroyed. And the world is just watching. They're seeing it on the television and watching. So
क्या बनी कि एक चलती हुई हुकूमत से आपने डिसाइड किया और एक डिसीजन लिया और आपको फिर स्टेप डाउन करना पड़ा?
But I've always said from day one, when I entered politics, that I'll do two things. One, inshallah, I will never trade my principle. And the second one is, when it's time to go, then I will try to keep my integrity or my dignity. And these things are really important. Izzat comes, we say, from Allah, not from anybody else. So I try to protect my izzat and my honour. I think is really important. So when there was a backlash against me stopping the agreement with the Green Party, that was the party that we were in de facto coalition, we had an agreement with, then I decided to do the right thing and to stand down. But what I'd never do is compromise my principles or trade my values. So look, the party is going through a difficult time. John Swinney is very experienced. He was the Deputy First Minister for a long time. Now he's in charge. Inshallah, he can bring the party together, because the problem for the party in the last 18 months also is they've been infighting, and that's not helpful. No party who's divided can ever win elections. We have to remember Pakistan is a new country. Still, even though it's been, of course, formed in 1947, still feels like a very new country, a very young country, young democracy. We're a very old democracy. So every country is on its own journey. And the transition of peaceful power is very important. And of course, we keep a close eye on what is happening in Pakistan. I've obviously met the Prime Minister before. I met the former Prime Minister previously as well. And we are worried about the situation. We're very worried about the situation when political leaders are thrown into jail before an election. That to me feels like a very worrying situation indeed. So from my perspective, look, what can we learn? I think the most important thing is, first of all, when it comes to your politics, niyat saaf honi chahiye. You should have a clean intention. You shouldn't go for politics just because you want money or power or status, but to do good for the people. And the second thing is, when it is time to leave, time to go, then you should not just stand down, but transfer that power democratically and peacefully. Look, Pakistan will always be in my heart, always. I'm a son of the soil. It's as close to my heart as the country I was born in. So I really hope that in Pakistan we begin to see stability in the politics and stop this cycle of jailing opponents or opponents ending up being killed, or indeed we have the army coups that have happened in the past as well. We want to see peaceful democratic transfer of power in the future.